Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hey. How are you all doing today? Welcome to another Unfiltered show where I am your host, Devon Morris. We talk about Agile, Scrum, entrepreneurship, all those kind of things. And if you don't know, I've been around the Agile game since 2005. I'm a certified Scrum trainer. Got a lot of other certifications, but I'm here to answer your questions. How does this show work so you understand and know? We talk about Scrum and Agile. That's what we do primarily. We'll talk about business if you'd like to talk about that as well. I'm open to it all. It is all fair game. But here's the deal. We got a topic of the night. We always talk about the topic of the night, for about 25 minutes. So roughly from 8:05 to about 8:30, we'll stop along the way, figure it out. But our topic of the night is crafting winning SMART goals for 2024. That's our topic for tonight, right? So we've talked about SMART goals to some degree, but I want to talk about crafting those big ones and crafting those major ones for 2024 so you can at least have some aspect of what to do. And I'll talk to you about what I'm thinking about in terms of the show, and we'll go from there. In terms of what's going on this week, you know, eh, you know, it's been a busy week for me, right? House stuff, holidays, about to turn 50. Birthday is like Christmas Eve, seriously, y'all. So just part of what I do. This is kind of that season for that for me. So, just come on in, sit and relax and enjoy the show. In terms of what else is going on, right now I'm rocking at ACSM. And then really the next class that I have is a CSM in January, like January 20 something, right? So not really going, max out things. It's just things are slower at this time. So that's when I push things out. And it give me a chance to think about what to do with the show and everything else and catch up on some things that I need to catch up on. Other than that, just life, man. Life, holidays, kids, got to do certain things that I wasn't ready to do, but, got to do them early. So, I'm putting my head, I'm really wrapping my brain around that, so I'm just like over here kind of smiling, kind of getting through it, but I'm good. I'm good. I don't have anything to complain about in life in general. Do me a favor. You're here on the show. Say hi in the chat. Shout out, throw your name out there so I can say hi to you. We are literally at the end of the year. This will be our absolute last show for this year, which is, I think a good thing. It's an amazingly good thing. Now, that being said, with this being our last show, I always worry about having a holiday show and stuff like that. Uh, January 1st is actually on a Monday. So we are not having a show on January 1st. Our next show will be January the 8th. So we got about, I'm looking at my calendar, we got one, two, just, 2 weeks of skipping things. And then it's kind of like we go on vacation for that little bit of time. And then we come back and we'll get right into it. And you'll know what the topic is because I'll think about that over the break and we'll get a topic out there. But again, this is all about answering your questions more than anything else. So I'm actually excited about our topic for today. And I'm excited about family. I really am. So my big question for you all is here. You know, what's something that you're looking forward to over the break? In this next few weeks, right? Some of you all may be working, but what are some things that you're kind of looking forward to, right? As you round out and end 2024, how are you going to take 2023 and take it out with a bang? I mean, how are you going to do that, right? That's what I'm curious about, right? And so I'm curious about how you're going to do that. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. Make sure you say hi in the comments so I know who's here and I can give you a shout out later. Let's see. You notice I'm looking around here just checking out to see what's going on. And I think we're going to get ourselves going for tonight. So we'll get ourselves going on that topic. So I will, go ahead and share some my presentation so you have it. Today, the topic is crafting winning smart goals for 2024. Crafting winning smart goals for 2024. Now, the first thing I will say to you is I always assume that everybody know what smart goals are. I just assume that automatically because if you're in the agile space, you run across smart goals sooner or later, right? And you probably have run across smart goals in some arena, someplace. I recently was able to join an honor society recently, and one of the things that they were teaching us was about smart goals. And it's something that I know how to execute because I execute goals all the time. And so that right there was redundant information for me, but for a bunch of younger people, it probably wasn't. But you should be very aware and very cognizant of the goals that you have, and they should be SMART goals. So I'll make sure we talk about at least what the acronym means and then kind of go from there. So when it comes to SMART goals, if you look at realistically the first letter of each word, it spells SMART, right? So SMART. SMART goals are specific, and we'll talk about that. We'll give some information about that, and then we'll come through and give you a couple of examples. SMART goals are measurable, okay? SMART goals are something that's achievable. You're going to find that SMART goals are relevant, and SMART goals actually are time bound. The thing that you have to understand is that SMART goals bring clarity, they bring focus, and they really add this true sense of direction. They actually help you to break down, those really, really big, audacious ambitions that you have and help you actually turn them into achievable tasks, achievable pieces of work, so and then you can actually get them done. With those smaller pieces of work, those smaller goals, it becomes easier to track them. And actually winning in small ways actually helps you to stay motivated. Okay. It actually helps you to stay motivated. So it's absolutely really, really important that you use SMART goals in a way that truly works for you. Now, when it comes to SMART goals, I want to talk about them and I'll talk about each one separately and then give you some overall thoughts as we move forward toward the end. First and foremost, SMART goals are specific. They are specific. Now, when I say specific, I mean you need to define your SMART goals with some level of precision. The idea is that a specific goal clearly outlines what you want to accomplish and leaves no room for ambiguity, no room for a true lack of focus, right? And here's the deal. If you think about what you are trying to do in this life that you have, right? In 2024, instead of saying, I want a more successful career, um, you can say, I want to achieve a senior Scrum Master position um, within the finance industry. Does that make sense? I want to get. So that narrows everything down. So what I've done specifically in that situation is I have talked about a senior Scrum Master role specifically. It might be a junior Scrum Master for you. You might love, or you might have some other association, a career changer. You might be in education, for example, and your statement is clearly, hey, you know what? I'd like to stay in education, but I'd like to work within the Scrum Master role within education. I remember somebody who came to our hardship classes, and she worked for retail part of the company. And her goal was really to become a part of the corporate part of the company where the Scrum Masters truly were working at, right? And she achieved that goal probably within 6 months. But the idea is that she specifically wanted to stay within the company and move from the retail stores to corporate so she can function as a scrum master, on generally software development teams. So when you think about that goal, that specific, you want to make sure you define it with precision, as much precision as you need. So, and then there's the clarity that you need. Now, being detailed as possible is going to help you, right? If you have an idea of the who, the what, the where, and the why of your goal, those are things that will help you be successful in actually achieving the goal. So really, really important that you do that. So we got that first one specific kind of out of the way. I want to move on to the second one, because the second one, oh, I did the bouncy thing. The second one is actually measurable. Measurable. And when I say measurable, I'm really talking about quantifying your objectives, right? Let's quantify your objectives in some kind of way. Now, when I talk about quantifying your objectives, I'm really saying to you that your measurable goals need to have a defined set of success criteria that you can actually track the progress toward, right? Um, for example, if I had a financial goal related to some scrum job that I wanted to achieve, I might say I aim to get a six-figure scrum master position by the end of 2022. You might, 2024, you might be on the cusp. You might be right there at five figures, $10,000 less than five figures, $5,000, $20,000 less than five figures. But your objective is to break that six-figure boundary. And if you get to 100K and 1 cent, or just 100K, you've broken that, right? But you want to make sure that whatever you choose is really truly measurable. Numbers will help with that. Percentages will help with that. Also, milestones will help with that. Also, decide how you will measure the progress. So you really have to make sure it's not that you make it specific, only specific, but you also got to make sure it's something that's truly measurable, right? Truly measurable. And having some type of financial goal is always an amazing thing to measure. So you want to think about something that you can measure that's going to help you quantify the objective. Does that make sense? So really, really important for you to actually do that. Let me double check. Hopefully this resonates with you, right? Hopefully it resonates with you. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one, and let's get this thing to do some twirl for us. And let's talk about our next big one that exists here. Achievable. Achievable. Now, achievable is extremely important because you need to make sure that you do something that a lot of people just don't do well. You have to make sure that it's challenging, but it has to be realistic, and that's the key. Realistic is not good enough, right? Realistic is not good enough, because you can have all kinds of achievable, realistic goals, but you want to make sure it's something that's also challenging for you, is actually worth you actually doing. When you actually make it realistic, thinking about the resources that you have, thinking about the constraints that you have, the challenge in it is going to motivate you. It's going to actually help you to be able to meet that challenge. So it's really important for you to actually make it something that is going to be challenging enough for you. Not so difficult that you can't get it done, right? To jump and say I'm gonna be a billionaire overnight, that's probably not gonna happen. But I guarantee you, right, you can find something that is really realistic, but also offers a bit of challenge for you. And you do that, you're gonna find amazing things will occur. Now, here's the deal. If you think about success here, you want to really, let me see you. You want to balance your ambitions with realism, right? You really do want to balance your ambitions with realism, right? You want to leave room for obstacles to kind of brush up against you, right? Obstacles can slow you down or completely stop you, and being able to account for that is also going to be helpful for you, because that could impact one of your measurable items, right? It really could. So it's something that you really want to think about in terms of Realistic and challenging at the same time is what you actually want to do. So really, really important. Don't forget that. Let's continue this journey, right? And let's go ahead and give ourselves a little shake there. And let's go ahead and move on to something that's relevant, right? Something that's relevant. Now, something that's relevant means that it's going to align with your broader objectives. It's going to align with your broader objectives. Whatever those objectives are is important, right? The idea is really very simple. You want this thing to contribute to some aspect of what you desire in life, right? It could be career objectives that you're really going after, but you want to touch on something that's really, really important to you and your life. And the more you're able to do that, the better off you're going to be. So just know you want it to be relevant and relevant to that ecosystem that you already exist within, right? And so when I think about this, I think about reflecting on my vision, goals that fit into a bigger picture, right? I think about ensuring that whatever it is aligns to my values and my long-term objectives, right? Because hopefully whatever you're planning to do is something you can get done, within a 2024 time frame, right? And so I would say to you, just make sure you ensure your goals align with your long-term aspirations. If you want to start a business, right, a relevant goal might be to develop a business plan, right? Um, well, scrap that, right? If you're going to start a business, a relevant goal is get a flipping customer. I mean, I hate to say it, so if you're gonna meet an objective, if you're not making no money with whatever it is, then it's gonna be a little harder for you to keep moving down that path. So just make sure it's going to be able to help you move down that path, help you grow in this direction you need to grow in, but it absolutely needs to be relevant. Okay. Now it doesn't stop there because we have one more to do, and that it being, it's got to do a little bit of shimmering there, right? So you've seen the shimmer, right? Now, here's the deal. Our last one is about time bound. We want to make sure that our goal is time bound. And when I say time bound, I'm really saying set a flipping deadline. Set a flipping deadline. What is the deadline going to be? You know, um, for me, when I think about it, a time bound goal has a super clear deadline. you know, the thing that you want to do probably more than anything else, and I remember this from Cotter's model, is you want to set a sense of urgency. You want to create some urgency. You want to help it to. You wanted to help you get around those menial everyday tasks that take away from this priority. So you want to just set some urgency with it. And so for me, I guarantee you, none of my goals for 2024, probably maybe one or two with this channel will be, but none of them will be at the end by the end of 2024, right? I will have goals along the way that helps me to meet the actual 2024 goal. So I guarantee you right now, we're probably going to say, hey, we're going to have 100 videos that we want to put up by the end of the year, right? We probably put up 45 this year, right? And I want to make sure that we maybe 45 and 50. I want to make sure that we do 100 next year, 75, whatever's reasonable, right? And so I'm probably going to be looking at that quarterly and trying to accomplish certain milestones every single quarter based on what I see is happening in terms of, I'm probably going to do a few less videos, when it's closer to holidays. So Q4, Q1, I got to figure that out. But I'm going to think about those smaller things that's going to help me get there. Now, when I think about that, I say to myself, I want to make sure I got realistic time frames, right? That help to motivate me to get to that urgent place. That's going to put other things to the side. I want to break that thing into smaller milestones. So, like I said, I really don't say, "Hey, we're going to do this all for 2024." That's not my primary objective by no stretch of the imagination. So, I'm going to break things down into smaller pieces for sure. Now, here's the deal. That right there being time bound is extremely important, right? And setting that deadline is extremely important. And when you take a look at all these things together, these are those these are smart goals right here, right? And I just summarized all this information for you. But here's what I want to add to this, right? Because I think there's a place where you turn this into reality. And if you don't do the right things to turn this into reality, you're going to run into all kinds of problems, right? And so the first thing I'm going to say to you is make sure you create some actionable plan, right? Um, kind of, in Scrum, every 2 weeks we do these sprint backlogs, and that's our actionable plan. Make some actionable plan that's going to help you take a step in the right direction toward that goal. I'm not going to say fully achieve it, right? Because you may not, with that actionable plan, you might have a step to a step to a step to get there. But the idea is that make sure you create some actionable plan to actually get there, right? I want you to also make sure that you remain flexible. The more you remain flexible, and allow things to have an impact on you, you prepare for circumstances to change in some kind of way. The more you do that, the better you will ultimately be. So make sure you remain flexible, right? Find ways to monitor your progress. Find ways to see kind of where you're at along the path. The more you can see where you're at along the path, it's nice to see when you're getting started, you're 25% done, you're 50% there, when you're 75, 90%. Those things help to keep you motivated. And then what I'm going to say to you that's also very important is make sure you find some support, man. That's really one of the biggest things that I would say to you. When I decided to embark up on this PhD program, I had to set priorities for it, right? And once I set priorities in my mind for what those priorities were going to be, family wasn't at the top of the list. Family just wasn't at the top of the list. That PhD program is at the top of the list. Bearded Eagle, the company, is not at the top of the list. This platform is not at the top of the list. Um, and so when it comes to Bearded Eagle, there's certain things that have to be sacrificed, right? I can't do as many classes as what I used to do because guess what? I'm in this program, right? But here's why I needed support when it comes to the family situation, right? Because I play a certain role as a patriarch within my family. And for me to be the appropriate patriarch and not feel really bad about not being able to be there all the time for everything, that means I had to have conversations with my family and make sure they understood what my priorities were and asked if they were okay with that and really get permission from them to really go after this goal that I'm trying to achieve, right? To be able to get the support that I needed to be able to take a step every single term in the direction of actually having that PhD. So, when I think about right now, you know, I'm going to take a trip. I got to go see my family in another city back up to Chicago. And you know what? If I got to leave a day later, they'll understand. If I got to, change this a little bit, they'll understand. Right. And that right there, that pressure helps a whole lot. So I think support is one of the biggest things that you can have to actually help you with your SMART goals. Okay. So on that note, that's what SMART goals is all about. And hopefully that's helpful for you. I don't see any logical reason why you should start 2024 without some SMART goals. My statement to you clearly is this: you're worth it. You're worth it. You're worth it. I'm literally gonna, I haven't had the opportunity to do it yet, but I'm literally gonna sit with myself and make some real, true, SMART goals. I know I got some goals for this channel that are audacious, challenging, but we're gonna try to do it. For this channel, I want this channel to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of 2024 with 100 additional videos being added to the platform. You hear what I just said? I want 3,000 subscribers, completely measurable, right? I want to make sure we add 100 videos worth of content, something we've never done before, by the end of 2024. Okay, I would separate those goals, right? And I'm going to probably think about how can I achieve that in smaller chunks over time, but that is the primary set of goals for this channel for 2024. Legitimately, for real, for real. Okay. So my question for you all is here right now. When you think about your goals, is there a big goal that you have for 2024? I don't care if it's a smart goal, though. Right? I don't care if it's a smart goal. If you have a big goal for 2024, drop that goal in the comments. Tell it to the rest of us, right? What is it? What is that thing that you're really trying to accomplish, in 2024? If you got a deadline for it, that helps. If it could be a smart goal, that would help. But drop it in the comments because I'd like to see what you all are trying to do. It could be personal, it could be career, it could be whatever it's going to be. But the idea is that you should be rocking with a smart goal going into 2024. I never go into any years without some goals that I'm trying to achieve. Never do I do that, right? And I got personal ones, and I got life ones in general. I got career ones, obviously business ones. So I got all kinds of goals that I set, and I set several, in terms of health, in terms of fitness, in terms of all these things. I really, truly do set them. So what are some of the things that you plan to accomplish is my question, right? Drop those in the comments. We can continue this conversation about this. But right now, what I want to do is something really very simple. I want to open the floor. I want to open up the actual comments. I want to open up our session to questions that you may have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link. If you want to join us live, that's a good way to get your questions answered. If you want to go ahead and just drop your questions in the chat, please drop them in the comments, and I will take a look and grab the ones out of the comments and actually answer them as best I can as we have our time together. So I will drop these things, so then you're good to go. And now we're just at that place where I'm opening your questions. So do you have any questions about anything related to the topics that we're talking about, SMART goals, or you have any questions about anything related to Agile, Scrum, entrepreneurship, life in general? As stated, we go as long as you all need. We'll go up to 9 o'clock, right? So love having questions, but there's a few nights we don't have a whole lot of questions. So this is just another one of those amazing things. I just love it. I just love it, love it, love it. So that being said, let me see. Look at this. Cheyenne, I remember you in class last week. I remember you in class. Welcome, 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 welcome. Again, this is what we do on Mondays, so start bringing your questions, right? Hey, Rajiv, how's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I don't see anybody on at least LinkedIn's video is behind, so I can't really tell where that's at. So that's okay. I can't. Yeah. I always say to LinkedIn people, you probably should join us on YouTube because that's the place where we interact. And I've always been debating on whether I'm going to keep doing the LinkedIn thing because it's just one of those things where it's great, but the problem is, in it being great, I can't interact with you as much as I want to over there. That's the issue, right? That's the issue. And that can be real difficult at times, especially if you really want to get your questions answered, right? So it's really hard to do it in both places, but that's okay. I've been able to manage it for the past time that we've been together. So let's see. Let me look here. It's close to the holidays, so I'm not expecting a whole lot. I'm expecting for people to be like, "Hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go celebrate whatever it is that we're going to celebrate." So people are over there shopping and getting themselves ready for the Christmas. We really are 7 days away from Christmas, right? And then, a couple of weeks away from the actual, January 1st. So, I mean, literally, we got a lot of things happening over our limited time together. So hopefully you're good. And it's been a good year for us, right? It's been a good year. It's been a good year. We actually made it to 1,000 people this year. So that was very, 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 very good. Let's see. Sharon, I have a goal to be Agile Safe certified and get my PO certification. What you waiting for? What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Right? I always would say to all you Scrum Masters here, you see how Sharon has this goal here. The only thing I would ask Sharon to do is just make sure she makes them, add some deadlines to your goals, right? Add some deadlines to your goals, Sharon, so you can hold yourself even more accountable, right? And the only reason why I say that is because I don't want you to get toward the end of the year like I need to rush to take them, right? So set some deadlines for those certs and get them done. Get them done. They're only going to be able to, they're only going to add to your ability to market yourself, right? And so I definitely say, Sharon, knock those goals out, please, right? And if you're doing the CSPO, you're always welcome to come back to Beard to the Eagle as usual, but you already know that, right? Yeah, you already know that, right? No question. All right. So other thoughts, other questions. What is going on? Do you all have anything for us tonight? Or are we gonna say, hey, happy holidays? We're done. Actually, I'm very happy to. I'm happy either way. I'm just look. Let me tell you something. I'm so grateful to be able to have this platform with you all. Um, it excites me every time I get to answer a question because every time I get to talk to you, it excites me. You know, I would have never seen myself in this position, right? And being in this position, um, it's humbling. It's a humbling experience for me, right? So I don't take it for granted. I just love it, And since I love it so much, it helps me to be here for you as much as I possibly can. But I'm gonna say happy holidays to you. Hopefully, you all got great things going on, and I do want to say this: but there are many people here who have lost loved ones around the holiday, who maybe lost them during the year. And I'm gonna say to you, make sure you reach out to those people who kind of almost hibernate when the holidays come because maybe there's presents that they can't get for people, or maybe they just have had struggles, right? Um, when the sun goes down and there's not as much sun out, a lot more people get depressed, and so just make sure you check out your loved ones, you check out your friends, make sure that they know that you love them and care about them, especially for the ones that it could be tough moments at this time. Okay, so go support them as best you can, but don't forget them in these holidays. Don't forget them in these holidays. So please do that, right? Let's see. Let's see. I have a goal to be a scrum master at some company. Also, will work to release a single for my music. Ah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, make that happen. Release a single from your music. What I would say again is, what's the deadlines associated with those goals, right? What's the deadlines, right? Because to say that as of 2024, um, and here's the deal: you don't have any control over someone giving you an opportunity as a scrum master. But what I will say is that you can be a scrum master right now for your life, for your life in general, right? And so the first thing I would do is position myself as my scrum master for my life, and make sure that I start running some scrum on everything that's around me, right? And then what I would start doing is not getting ready, but being ready for somebody to give me that opportunity. Not getting ready, but being ready, right? And the more that you're ready for that opportunity, the more people is going to be looking at you in the right way. So my statement to you is, could you create some smaller, more specific goals that can support your readiness for a company? That's the clear statement. Is there some other things, because you don't have any control over people hiring you? That's one thing you don't have any control over. But what you do have control over is your readiness for people to hire you, right? And so what I would advise you to do is make a goal that is achievable by your efforts, is relevant to what you want to do to achieve that, but that you do have some control over. Does that make sense? And I agree. All of us want to get a certain position in life. Just a lot of times we don't control that. So just make sure that you think about steps that you can make along the way that will help you in terms of that. And I think you'll do pretty good. And then you definitely should put some time frame around your song. I would say to you, in today's world, music is much easier to get out there than what it used to be. And so doing that would be great. And make sure you share the link with us in the future. So then we know what you're doing and we can find ways to support you. So good job. I think that's amazing. Just make sure that you turn those into SMART goals. And I definitely, for that Scrum Master thing, think about steps towards your readiness. Definitely. because there are several steps towards your readiness. And I don't know what those things are. You would know those things better than me, but start taking some of those steps towards your readiness and make sure that those things are goals. And as you achieve those, it's going to help motivate you. And adding that sense of urgency, I think, is extremely important in terms of deadlines, in terms of being time bound. So really, really great, right? Really, really amazing and great. Other thoughts, other questions? I'm just looking over here because your comments over here, right? And so I look back and forth just to kind of make sure I'm navigating the right stuff, right? So I got several little places I need to look to make sure we all good. And then being all good, I'm just like, oh, I'm great. I'm feeling good. I'm a little, like I want a snack, but that's okay. I'm gonna have me a ginger beer tonight, so I'm gonna be happy, be super happy, right? So nothing but pluses, nothing but goodness, nothing but greatness here amongst all of you all. So I absolutely love it. So let's double check. Let me double check LinkedIn one more time. Looks like we got an easy night tonight, y'all, because again, it's the end of the year and the beginning of the year is always slower. You just can't get around it, right? Um, you know, I may have missed your part of your question. How long does it how long does it usually take you to carve out a plan, SMART goals for the year? 4 hours. 4 hours max. 4 hours max. When I think about every single aspect of my life, um, about 4 hours max. So I sit down literally for a solid 4 hours and really think through it and really probably it's really if I really have thought about it and been kind of preparing myself in my head, about an hour. It don't take that long. It don't take that long. It really don't. But I like to just carve out 4 hours just in case I need it. Because I don't just like to create a SMART goal. I like to create actionable plans toward each one of those SMART goals. And then I think about several categories like my health, the bearded eagle, in terms of DM limited now, building another brand in terms of personal development. You think about this platform, just goals across all these things lead to a lot of little thinking and trying to be realistic about it all. So for me, max 4 hours, but like an hour literally. If I really, really just sit down and just run through it. Um, and I'm good at creating goals because I create goals for everything. Like I always, I mean, almost every day I create a goal. Like I create goals every day. Like literally, I create goals every day. Like legitimately, I create goals every day. And so since I create goals every day, it's just a part of what I'm used to doing. So it takes me about an hour realistically, but I always carve out 4 hours just in case I need more time. Some things are a little bit harder to work on. Um, when I think about family, sometimes when I start thinking about the actionable plans, it requires coordination and stuff like that. So whenever I got to interact or start thinking and looking at calendars and everything else, that takes a little bit longer to do. Um, especially as I'm trying to carve out time because I only got 24 hours every day. And so there's only so much I can work on in a day. So I'm always thinking about those things. And so I'm trying to take care of them piece by piece. But yeah, yeah, I would say a solid hour to 4 hours for me, right? And that's taking care of all aspects of this life that I live, all aspects of this life, right? So 1 to 4 hours is realistically what I do. I'll sit on my iPad, I'll write it down, I'll open up a whole sheet of paper and start writing what I'm thinking. And so I go through a whole thing, right? And I'm definitely about to go through a whole thing because I got a big milestone coming up, and that big milestone is gonna push me to really think a little bit more about what I want to do um, in terms of steps. And I have some big ones, and then I'll have some smaller ones that help me achieve that. It's funny because joining this honor society, they wanted us to become a part of a networking group, and being a part of a networking group, it's a little tough when you have a lot of experience with a lot of people that don't. And a lot of people didn't have good experience with goals. And for me, I can create a daily goal. So in terms of what I wanted to do, I created my daily goals, and it was just like, no, you got to wait a week before you can submit these goals. You want them to be bigger. And it's like, well, they are bigger. They fit toward a bigger goal. I'm just making smaller goals that can help me achieve my bigger goals. And so a lot of people don't really get that, but I don't know how you get around it when you're doing Scrum, because at the end of the day, there's a product goal, there's a sprint goal. So every 2 weeks, you're making some goal, at least one, right? And then I don't know how you achieve a bunch of certifications and everything else without a series of goals, right? So for me, I'm always kind of in that goal state, right? Um, yeah, definitely share with us and let us know how things go on that for real. Especially music. I love music. Okay, I love music. Definitely love music. Um, let's see. Job hopping hunting has been a tough couple of weeks with interviews. My goal is to dig into my skills and understand where I can better highlight myself and stop guessing why offers are made or not. Your name looks familiar, Vicky. It does, right? So your name looks familiar. Um, so I'm assuming that you're a Bearded Eagle alum. Have you, um, Vicky, have you ever been to Brandon Land? Brandon Land. So let me know. Have you been to Brandon Land, Vicky? If you've been to Brandon Land, that's cool. If you have not been to Brandon Land, then I'll talk about it. Well, let me talk about it anyway, right? So I'm gonna look this up real quick and then make sure that I pass off something, right? So then I'm gonna say, Vicky, reach out to Signo, right? So reach out to Signo and uh, try to get Signo and his group to kind of help you um, with that, because the bigger question I would ask is, that whole job match thing that they talk about. Okay, so for you all that don't know, there is a Bearded Eagle alumni. His name is John Signo, right? And he actually does a set of classes called Brand and Land, right? And the Brand and Land guys, they actually do these classes to help you, one, brand yourself and land a job, right? And as I look, their website isn't up to date, but I'm going to provide an email address for you all. I'm over here grabbing it right now. For you all that have not been to a brand and land class, then I would say reach out to a guy named John Signo. Signal's my guy. I don't get paid for this, anything like that. I just did the Brandon Land class myself. And at the end of the day, John's a great guy. And that's the email address to reach his group, right? To reach his group. So, Vicky, I would say go back to them and let them help you tweak your information, okay? Um, and so, yeah, Vicky, yeah, exactly. Great suggestion to re-engage with him and his group. Yes, please re-engage with him. And the reason why I say that, Vicky, is because, okay, I own my company, okay, which means I'm not really in a job market. And that is, I'm not bragging about that at all. So I operate in a different place than what most people that are looking for a job operates in, right? I did the Brandon Land class to see how valuable it would be for you all, but it's not personally valuable for me. Now, could I brand myself a little bit better on LinkedIn? Absolutely, I could do that, and I will do that. But I would be doing it for absolutely different purposes, right? Because I'm not trying to just go find an opportunity. And so the reason why I advise you to go to someone like Signo is because he's been through this, right? He has been, laid off from a job and needing to find an opportunity, right? And he's actually executed on that and done that very well. And all he's doing is a rinse and repeat with you for you to be in a position to be able to do that, right? And so, someone who has experience with being in a job market and not having an opportunity and looking for that opportunity, that's what he's been through. And so, I can't, in today's market, I can't I would be fostering a, I would be giving you a fake me, fostering misinformation if I was to present to you that I am an expert at that. Because I have experience being fired, but I try to get fired at times, right? And so, in me experiencing being fired, that is not the same as somebody who wants to land a job, right? Because I get fired, I'm just like, I'm on to the next contract whenever I decide to jump into a contract. That's the way I've been for years. Before I had Bearded Eagle, I was kind of that way. Just always saving for a rainy day so that I buffer, the fallouts, right? But that's not where a lot of people are at. So if you are really trying to land a job and you're really in the job market, Signal on what they do is an excellent set of tools to help you. And so I would advise anybody that's here to reach out to John in reference to that. And as you said here, Vicky, you got the keys to the kingdom already. You need to reach out to John and just be like, look, I need to do this. I need this. I need that. And re-engage back into that brand and land, because you're going to learn something the second time around. I think you've been in that brand and land more than one time, right, Vicky? So just make sure you re-engage with Signo. You know Signo is dope. I mean, he's a really amazing guy. He's really, really nice, right? And so I would say re-engage with Signo and his group is what I would advise you to do. I know probably Signo is going to reach out to me. We're probably going to have at the beginning of the year, probably a lunch, a dinner or something like that. Probably in a Q1, because I'm always going to kind of mentor and help out Signo a little bit. I've known Signo since like 2014, 2015. Literally, when we had our first office, he was one of the people that showed up there. Like literally 2014, 2015, somewhere around that time. Could have been, I don't think it was 2013. 2013, we were struggling. Okay. So just make sure you kind of do that. Okay, Vicky. Because like I said, your name looked familiar and I'm remembering a face. So make sure you re-engage with Signo. Please do that. Okay. Um, and I'll say to you all, if there are people from Bearded Eagle, especially alumni from Bearded Eagle, that I'd recommend to you, they're good. They're good, right? Because I don't recommend anybody unless I know what they're doing, because I don't like to be embarrassed, right? So what I'm going to say to you is just re-engage with Signo. And for those who have never been involved with Signo, send an email. Send an email. You will be impressed. I know they got things coming in Q1. Get yourself involved, right? Do that. It's going to be helpful for you. Trust me. Trust me. That 5 hours is worth it. Okay. 5 hours sounds like a long time, but it's worth it. Okay. All right. Have you found the first quarter to be a good time for job placement or not? I'm also on the market again too. So the truth is, Sharon, I'm not gonna say don't hunt. I wouldn't say that at all. For me, the experience has always been things die down November, December, January. And usually around mid February, organizations take, unless they have a crazy need, they take about 6 weeks to ramp back up. With hiring, with getting everybody moving in the same direction. So literally, for me, the experience has been, even with training, um, November 15th, halfway through November, dead. Things are slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. Come January 1st, nobody's interested in anything. Slow, slow, slow. Start toward the mid-January, people start ramping up. And so by the time you get to mid-February, people are kind of looking, making things happen. Not saying that that is the case for all organizations, because every organization's fiscal year isn't, from January to December. You may find companies whose fiscal year are different, but because of that fiscal year, that closing of the year and the beginning of another year, they just kind of have that ramp down and then ramp up time, right? It's what I classically see with the job hunt, and with everything else associated with organizations. Like if I'm thinking about contracting, contracts usually happen the same way, right? Because that's when they're getting that money together and ready to spend that money, right? So I say to you, definitely look, right? Do not Do not look. Make sure you look, right? Make sure you look because it's important for you to just stay on the hunt, right? And be ready. Be ready. Be actively ready, just in case somebody's ready right now, right? But just know it might be a little slower than usual. It might be a little slower than usual, and that's okay because this is what classically happens. This is what classically happens. So I will say to you all, though, this is really important. The rainy day fund. The rainy day fund is extremely important. I say this because you want to be able to buffer the times when you're down. Okay. And, even if you have a 9 to 5 where you are a full time employee, I will still be building myself on some type of buffer. Because in today's world, companies can let you go at the drop of the dime, right? I'm even seeing Google laying off people, right? I see all kinds of big organizations laying off lots of people, right? And the question becomes, some of these people being laid off, so like things like technology changing, like artificial intelligence, things of that nature, right? Some people are being laid off because business ventures that they thought were going to work did not work. Like electric cars, aren't as popular as what they once were, right? So you start thinking about these things, right? And your objective is just to be ready, Sharon. You have to be ready. You have to be ready. You have to continue to look. You have to continue to make sure that you try to make it grow, right? I remember I had somebody I worked with who we did everything to get them ready, and they only looked for about 3 jobs. You're not gonna have a lot of success with that, right? Because sometimes it's a numbers game. Sometimes it really is, and it's just less of those numbers available normally at the end of the year, and at the beginning of the year as they ramp down and ramp back up. So I would say to you, be patient for sure, and just make sure that you're ready. Make sure you're ready. That's the key. You don't get ready, you be ready. Okay. And that's really the big key. Make sure you're ready. If it's me, I'm completely got everything lined up, ready to go. So if somebody looks at me on LinkedIn, somebody looks on me, everything lines up, and they're just like, I really want that person because I'm ready. And as soon as they come and bounce them, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready to start and do this on Monday if you ready. I can come in tomorrow since tomorrow's Tuesday. Tell me if you ready. I'm ready. You understand? So just make sure that you're ready. That's the key, right? You can't control people hiring you, but you can be ready for the opportunity. So make sure you're ready for the opportunity, okay, Sharon? So that's what I would say. But in terms of organizations, there's that ramp down and then there's that clear ramp up. Um, Most organizations have the same fiscal year, just a calendar year. So just make sure you take that into consideration. Other thoughts, other questions? Let me double check, see if I missed anything here. Other thoughts, other questions? Yeah, these are good questions. Yeah, I mean, just nothing real crazy here. Just make sure that you stay engaged, you re-engage with Signal. Make sure you consider the year. Make sure you add that buffer. And I'm telling you, right, before I went and started consulting, my SMART goal was around having having 6 months of stability for my family. That was my goal, right? 6 months of stability for my family. Um, and I probably had 5 months, something like that, right? Wasn't quite six when I just had to go out there and jump out there and do it. But that right there is amazing because if I get let go in November, I got buffer to last me through March. You know what I'm saying? Through March. So I think like that. So I want you to think like that, right? I want you to take care of yourself in these trying times. Make sure you're prepared for when things get dry. Because when they get dry, if you're prepared for it, it's easy breezy. But if you're not prepared for it, then we got tears, man. And there's no need of having tears because in this industry, we can make some really good money, right? We can. You just got to go out there and make it, right? Got to do the work, right? And so I'm going to say to you, make sure you create that buffer for yourself, okay? Um, yeah, this has inspired me to work these goals. Yeah, actionable plans. Yeah. I took a personal Kanban class recently and it made me wonder why I don't translate what I use at work to my personal. Yeah, man. Yeah, you need to translate. Like all this stuff you learned, like Vicky with Scrum, you was involved in my class. All this stuff you learned with Scrum and Kanban, you should, I mean, you should be one of the most important people in your life. And so if you can do this for, I mean, if you can do this for other people, why can't you do it for you? You know, my statement clearly is this: you would not trade your life for 10 million, $100 million. If you knew that somebody give you $100 million, but you got one day to live, you wouldn't trade that. So your life is really important relative to time. So why wouldn't you take these skills that you pay for and use them on time that's relevant to you? I just never thought to myself that I would ever not use this Scrum stuff for my family and for me. For me, I use it for me all the time, to the point where I say to people, man, I'm in a sprint. In the family, they know to leave me alone, man, for real. So I'm telling you, you should be using these things in your life, period. There should be no question on that. That should be happening all the time. Um, yeah. Send that stuff with the Kanban class over. That stuff, share with the community here so they know, Vicky, that's a good thing to do. Other questions, other thoughts as we close out. So I'm going to say to you all, as we start closing out here, hey man, the next session we will have here will be January the 8th. So Monday, January the 8th, I can't tell you the exact topic yet. It's a secret. I don't know it. I just don't know it, right? So January 8th will be our next one. You know that's January 8th, 8 p.m. is when we're going to rock and move forward. So that means 25th and the 1st, we're not going, right? We're not going to be live at all. So that means have a happy holiday, regardless of what holidays you actually celebrate. Enjoy your new year, right? Take some time to reinvent yourself if you need to reinvent yourself. Take some time to spend on you and figure out what you want to do that first quarter in 2024 throughout the entire 2024. Figure that out. Smart goals is designed for you as well. No matter how long you've been around this game, I still do SMART goals to this very day, and I find them to be extremely valuable for me. So it's something that you should absolutely do. Trust me, if you have a 2024 that's full of SMART goals, I guarantee you will accomplish the majority of things that you dream of in 2024. So why not use a small technique to help you make your dreams come true? You can actually do that. I do it all the time. There's nothing special about me. I just use the techniques that I have been taught. I didn't make up SMART goals, but I was taught SMART goals. So my philosophy is really very simple. I'll let somebody else have the pain so I can learn from that pain so I don't have to experience the pain. You understand? Somebody had pain of not accomplishing goals and created SMART goals. I'm glad that they did, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel, man. So my statement to you is real clear. Make sure you have an amazing holiday. Make sure you enjoy yourself. Make sure you create some SMART goals. Make sure you bring in 2024 with a bang. Not just a bang from partying, a bang from the things that you plan to accomplish for yourself in your life, your career, whatever it is that you want to focus in on. Do that. There's nothing, there's nothing in between you and your dreams except you. You are the only one that's in between you and your dreams. So stop being an impediment for yourself. Stop being that obstacle, that roadblock for yourself. And go out there and get some things done. Accomplish your dreams, accomplish your goals. Why? Because you deserve it. On that note, enjoy your remaining 2023. I will see you all in 2024. Have amazing holidays. Enjoy the time with the people that you love and care about. Other than that, have a good one, everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you for helping us to have such an amazing 2023. I look forward to making 2024 even more grand, much better. I'll talk to you all later. You have a good one. Peace, y'all. Thank you.